This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but during the intro today, they were actually quiet. They weren't bantering with each other. What's going on today, guys?
Thanks for pointing that out, Karen Hale. Thank you so much.
The stars are not aligning, Karen. The stars are not aligning or something.
I'll tell you what. Yes, I am Paul Seaburn, and this is What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news podcast. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto, and that's what we try to do here every week. If you're listening live, today is Tuesday, the 26th of April, and we are in Cleveland, Ohio, where they're predicting snow tonight, of all things. And the temperature on Sunday was 80 degrees. So,
wow,
Snow tonight, yes. Between, I'm sorry to break the news to you, Karen.
I'm going back to New York.
This is what happens when you don't come to rehearsal. That's right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, yes. Sometime between midnight and 7 a.m. it will be snowing. So, I know you're up at that time all the time. So on your way to that special room that we all have to visit, peek out the window.
Yes.
So that Karen I'm talking to is Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, and media radio, which is our forum for the podcast. Lots of great podcasts there. Go to the newclevelandradio.net, click on my name. You find out all about how to download us. It's free. We're on YouTube. We're on all the great platforms. And then check some of the other great podcasts Karen has. Also, that other voice you're hearing in your earbuds is our buddy John DiNallo. Hi, John.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Karen. That's another week.
John.
As you highlighted, Paul, another change in the weather in Cleveland.
That's right. John is, in addition to being the What in the World weather forecaster, he is also our sports guy, color commentator, and all around, all around good guy. So we're always glad to have him here. He's got a great sport for us this week, as always. So let's get right to it. I don't think I have. Well, let's see. What else do I have to say? Please visit us when you do look us up or download the podcast. You can also visit me at on Facebook or at mysteriousuniverse.org, where I am the editor and head writer. A few of the stories that I talk about pop up there as well, but we like to have more fun with them here at What in the World. So you always have a good time here. Let's see, what else do we have to do? Let's just take a look at some of the stories I've got for today, give you a little preview, excuse me, while I clear my throat here. So from all over the world today, we've got MIT, that's Massachusetts, scientists that are studying Oreos at MIT. Now, these are the brainy guys. They're studying Oreos. We're going to find out about that. One of my all-time favorite musical performers, David Bowie, some of the ghost encounters that David Bowie had during his life came out this week, so we're going to talk about those. A vampire world record. We love talking about world records. Celebrity millipede. Karen, don't worry, no photos.
Good.
Karen's not a big fan of insects, but a celebrity millipede in Tennessee. Interesting story there. A murderous microwave oven in Brazil. I love this story. This was a great story. This one you may have seen on the news. We're going to get into in depth on this one. A 60-year-old hamburger was found in Illinois. And more odd news, more trivia, strange sports with John DiNallo, and then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So let's get right to it, because those stories sounded interesting, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
I need to hold up a Q sign or something while I grab my paper and said, all right, well, let's get right to the world record. Let me see. Do I have a picture of this one? Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. This is a world record that we talked about not that long ago on What in the World. And since then, because we span the globe with our podcast, since then, many people have had heard about it and decided to attempt to break this particular record. And the record I'm talking about, of course, is stacking M&Ms. Remember that, John and Karen?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you remember what the record was, by the way?
Oh, some kind of astronomical number. I couldn't imagine what took place. Yeah, I mean, it was just out of this world, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was six. It was six, John. Six
oh,
M&Ms.
wait. I know, is that true?
Yes. Yeah.
My memory is faulting here. Is faltering, I should say.
No, I'm serious. Okay, so here's the latest. Here's the world record setter. I don't have his name. He's in Iraq, and he set the new Guinness World Record for stacking plain M&Ms when he stacked 7, as you can see in this photo here. They're apparently allowed to wear little thumb hats. So I don't know, if he got special permission for that or if that's part of the Guinness contract. But there he is stacking the seventh one, which I believe is orange, on top of that stack. And even more amazing, you can't tell this, but he has his eyes closed during most of the stacking. I watched the video, and the reason why is because he still thinks that green M&M is sexy, and he starts to sweat whenever he touches one of those.
Oh my gosh.
So he says whenever he touched a green M&M, he closed his eyes, and somehow he still managed to stack them.
Wow.
I can't stack peppermint patties, and they're flat. How does he do this? John, if this were a sport, would we have any teams, or would it just be,
I don't know. I think it takes some certain skill, to do this, obviously. I mean,
steady hands, yeah.
You think just on the surface that you would have more than just 7? 7 doesn't seem like that many.
Okay. Here's what we need to do. We need to get some I'll send you some M&Ms, John.
Well,
As soon as we have enough money in the budget to buy one of those little bags, I will send it to you. Those are they're about 69 cents these days. So we got to wait a little.
No, the little bags are $1.29.
$1.29.
Yes.
Holy smokes. I haven't been to the store to buy M&Ms in a while, I guess, or little bags. I always buy
instead of practicing with a net for Bluff the co-host, we're gonna start practicing stacking M&Ms.
M&Ms, there you go. There goes the diet right there.
That's right. There you go.
Okay, well, when the lovely Annette starts complaining, don't blame me. This was all.
Oh, that's my doing, Paul. You're right.
There you go. Yeah. Here's another one that our spouses will complain about. This one comes from Manchester, England. I'm going to leave this picture up because I've got another picture. By the way, I mentioned these pictures. I try to describe them. We are on YouTube, so every once in a while I'll have a photo. And if you're interested, go to YouTube. You can see what we look like and what some of the pictures of the things that we're referring to. So this one comes from England. A man in Manchester, England, was inspired by Batman to paint every room in his massive 990 square foot apartment, which is huge in England, a flat, they call them in England. So he painted every room black, the floor, the ceiling, the walls. All of the furniture is black. And I think I have a picture of it here. All of the, there we go. This is in his kitchen. All of the furniture is black, the countertops, the virtually everything, every surface imaginable is black in every single room of this small apartment or flat, except in the bathroom, where the toilet, the bathtub, and the sink are white. Now, you may wonder why he devoted so much time to making his entire apartment black, that those 3 items were white. And I mentioned it to the lovely Donna, my wife, who said, well, she says, if that were me, that would be because your aim is so poor in the dark at night, you'd be able to see it.
Oh boy.
And I said, that makes perfect sense. Because I know you can buy black toilets. I've seen black toilets. Apparently the guys who buy them are not married.
There's a telling statement to that, Paul, obviously.
Obviously, John, ask the lovely Annette about it and she'll tell you the same thing.
I will.
I want you to know my husband went out and bought one of those ultraviolet lights
Oh,
so he could see when I clean in the bathroom what I've missed.
holy
Isn't that delightful?
Oh,
wow. I'm not even going to touch that one because
I'm not going there either. I'm not going
I don't
there.
want Rich coming after me. No, he might run me down. See me crossing the street and I'm just going to let it go. Well, let's move right on to a safe subject, Florida. Now, but we were discussing this right before the show that there's a few areas that we talk about where it's always strange news coming. England is one of them. Japan is another. And of course, Florida is the king, queen, and prince of strange news. So this one comes from Orlando, Florida, which has been in the news lately. Gatorland of Orlando, everybody's second favorite place to visit when they go to Florida, announced it's bringing back Gator Palooza. This is for you, John, a 2-day festival featuring the Florida Man Challenge, which is a triathlon style event where competitors race through a, get ready for this, alligator infested swamp. Now there's a sport we need to cover.
Wow, that's a sport I would never be participating in.
So, in a related story, I was reading this and I saw another story. Gators in Orlando announced the return of Manapalooza, which they will be participating in at the same time as Gator Palooza in the swamp. So you can just imagine there'll be fans on both sides cheering for both.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Gator Palooza. If you're worried, the governor of Florida has no plans to mess with Gatorland. So no matter what happens, Gatorland will be open. So when in case you decide you don't want to go to that other place in Florida, go to Gatorland, Gator Palooza this year.
Wow, that is kind of an interesting story, Paul.
But you wouldn't participate. I know.
I don't want to challenge the gator now. What do I want to do that for? I mean, seriously, why would you go?
Well, maybe they're little gators. Maybe they just tickle.
Well, then that would be different. That's a different set of circumstances. But I think if you have a full-grown gator that's going to be in these swamps.
Oh, undoubtedly. Yeah. Well, with enough alcohol and
enough of interest, right, to think that I can, people can show that they can take on these challenges. I guess they do it, but
well, you know what, John? I'll have to talk to my buddy Don down in Florida. But I think the makers of Off have a Gator Spray that you can spray on yourself.
Really?
When you go out walking at night, so you don't, so the gators, like the mosquitoes, the gators don't bother you as well.
Wow.
We'll have to look into that. In the meantime, let's go to Illinois, where a man, this was on the national news. A man was renovating his bathroom in Crystal Lake, Illinois, and he's knocking down the wall. And he's shocked. He finds something, a ball, kind of wrapped up like cloth or paper or something, a ball. He pulls it out and opens it up, and he finds inside a McDonald's wrapper a 60-year-old McDonald's hamburger and a bag of fries.
How does he know it's 6 years old?
Because, Karen, the house was built in 1959. And a McDonald's opened right down the street at the same time. So he worked it out that the workers must have gone to this new McDonald's. The wrapper itself, I don't have a picture of the wrapper, but it was an ancient looking logo on the wrapper. So it's pretty clear that this was a 60-year-old hamburger. He was even more amazed that the burger didn't smell. The fries were still crispy. And there was no sign of mice anywhere on the burger. I do have a picture of an old McDonald's here. Old McDonald didn't have a farm. He had looked like he had an old Chevy here. So some things never change, though. As he's digging through the rubble where he found the hamburger, he also found an empty cup and a note that said that the shake machine was broken, which is still a common problem at McDonald's Now, I have a picture up here of a McDonald's from the early 60s. This is when they opened up. The three of us remember going to these Golden Arches McDonald's.
Sure, I remember. Yes, I do.
You can tell how old it is because the sign says we have sold over 1 million, which I believe they sell in a minute right now. But that was a big thing back in those days, how many hamburgers McDonald's has sold. Yeah.
Sure.
So my question though, he made note that when he reported it, that the fries were still crispy. How did he know that they were still crispy?
Oh.
I hope he didn't eat one. Oh my God.
Well, John, I'm pretty brave when I go into the refrigerator and I find old containers of leftovers. I'm willing to try just about anything, but 60-year-old McDonald's fries from behind a bathroom wall.
Oh man, there's no way.
So.
No way. Wow.
So he said, as I mentioned, the house was built in 1959, close to a McDonald's. Now, so I wanted to look this up. So 1960, what do you think the price of a McDonald's hamburger was in 1960?
Well, if I remember, 15 cents.
Yep.
15 cents. There you go. That's right. 15 cents. How about fries? Those crispy fries, how much were they?
I'm gonna say 12 cents.
Ooh, close. Karen?
10.
10 cents, a dime.
Yep.
One thin dime got you a nice big bag of McDonald's fries.
Oh.
And it was a bag. It wasn't those cardboard things. How about a milkshake? Milkshake was a splurge back in those days. And they called, by the way, they called them milkshakes. You're not allowed to call them milkshakes anymore.
Gotcha.
I wonder why. What do you think? Milkshakes were...
I'm going to say
20 cents.
20 cents. No, 50 cents. Whoa, Karen, you would have high roll.
Well,
so I looked up to see what the equivalent, a dollar back in 1960, how much it would buy today. A $1960 is worth $9.71 today. Due to inflation. Yeah. So that means a 10-cent bag of French fries was the equivalent of 97 cents in today's dollar. 15-cent hamburger, $1.45 in today's dollar. Have you been to McDonald's lately? What is a hamburger today? $2.49, which shows that inflation is really in the hamburger field has gone far beyond normal inflation. Now, remember those, we thought those hamburgers were big. How much do you think the hamburger weighed in back in those days?
Wow, that's a great question.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was 3.7 ounces. 4 ounces is a quarter pounder, if I'm not mistaken. That's because 16 ounces is a pound, so 4 ounces is a quarter of a pound. So a McDonald's hamburger back in those days in 1960 was almost a quarter pounder. What does a McDonald's hamburger patty weigh today? 1.6 ounces.
Wow.
So less than half of what it did in 1960 for $2.49. What has this world come to? And that's our
You're not getting what you pay for when you go to McDonald's. So I think
holy smoke. And they're still, I would say they're probably one of the less expensive of the fast food. Yeah. So, obviously, so the burgers are much smaller today. The order of fries probably too. We should have lost weight, eating there, but all we lose is money, apparently. So now,
but think of all the nutrition you gain from those wonderful meals.
There you go, John, and we, so we don't lose McDonald's as a potential sponsor. We'll just move on. But speaking of food, good segue though. This is a little historical story. Another study conducted in England, contrary to the carnivorous reputation of the royal families in medieval England. We see pictures and movies, paintings of the royals back in those days, and there's tables just laden with meat. Half of a cow and a roast pig and roast ducks and chickens and whatever else they ate. It turns out those were all wrong. A new study found that a bioarchaeological study, there's a field to go into, claimed that before the arrival of the Vikings, the Anglo-Saxon royals, who were dominant in England, were largely vegetarian. So all of those pictures were fake. They were actually eating broccoli and asparagus and whatever else they grow in England, and very, very little bit of meat. Shocked me.
That is kind of shocking, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
So what happened when the Vikings came? My theory is the Vikings brought bacon, and nobody can resist bacon. So they must have had elk bacon or something. Whatever the Vikings ate, they brought bacon. Next thing you know, the British are eating meat like there's no tomorrow. So this is the year of the 70th Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II. She's been in that job for 70 years. She's 96 years old. Now, normally when people reach that age, some reporter always asks them, well, what's the secret to your longevity? I've never seen anyone ask the Queen, seen or heard of anybody asking Queen Elizabeth, what's the secret to your longevity? But I guarantee she won't say, oh, it's because I'm a vegetarian. I think I really would hope, in my wildest dreams, I would hope that if somebody asked her that question, she'd say the secret to her longevity: I have pot roast for breakfast, I have a half a goose for lunch, and I down a pint of gin for dinner. That's why I'm still here, Chucky boy.
that wouldn't be what you'd expect, but that would be pretty funny.
I could be. Which is probably why Charles looks so down, because he's got to eat. He doesn't get to participate in the big feast, I guess, until he becomes king. So,
right.
Yeah. Speaking of Queen Elizabeth, in honor of her Platinum Jubilee, Mattel released a limited edition Barbie doll dressed like Queen Elizabeth II. And I had this on my Facebook page. I want to put it up here again because it's such a great picture of there you go. So there's a Barbie doll in front of Windsor Castle of Queen Elizabeth. She's got on a crown, a sash, nice royal blue sash, and a brooch. So she looks really nice, gray hair, silver hair. I'm sorry, silver hair. Sorry, Queenie. So nice, pretty picture. But that's not all you get. Okay, if you buy the Queen, you also can get, to make it more authentic, you get a Barbie dream house that's decorated to look just like Windsor Castle, and a Ken doll that's dressed to look like Prince Andrew, who's hiding in the back of the castle. So you can't beat it. I'm surprised that the royal family allowed this to happen, but I'm talking about the Queen the Queen is a Barbie doll, not Prince Andrew and all that other stuff. They were probably cheering him on until they found out that he was actually going public with whatever it was he was doing. So anyways, I thought that was a cute little
She
picture.
looks like a bobblehead doll.
A bobblehead doll.
Yeah.
That would be, wow.
We could make a fortune. Regal, if you ask me. She looks rather regal. I mean, like you said, she's got a nice royal blue sash. She looks.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. But it's funny that you say that though, Karen, because I just realized that Barbies, in proportion, they're generally much thinner than a normal human being.
Right.
They're also taller. So Queen Elizabeth, if you wanted an authentic Barbie doll, you'd have to cut her off at the knees at least, in order for her to look like more like the real Queen Elizabeth, which I'm sure is against the law in England. So probably against the law to even say something like that. So we'll wipe that out when we after we edit the tape.
Okay.
So now I got one more food story here. This one comes from MIT. This is, I always am amazed at the funding that goes into some of these studies. How do they raise this funding? So these guys at MIT, they are called rheologists, RHEOLOGISTS, rheologists. Those are physicists who study complex fluids. So fluid dynamics kind of people. They have developed a new field called Oreology to study, get ready, John, the flow and fracture of sandwich cookies when they are twisted open to access the creamy center. That's right.
I guess it is a science in a way. I never thought
I
of it.
guess.
Right. Wow. How about that?
Fluid dynamics. So cream, I guess, is a fluid and not a solid. So they study how crackly the cookies are, and they're actually, that study was published in the Journal of Physics of Fluids, one of my favorite journals to read in the bathroom. So they actually got money for this study. So I'm thinking we need to do a complimentary study. We need to call ourselves milkologists, and we need to study the breakdown of Oreos, the fluid of Oreos in the fluid of milk. We got to be able to raise some money to do that.
Well, that might be a tough putt, though. I don't know if you could do that.
Wait a minute, John. Don't you like Oreos?
Of course, I like Oreos.
Okay, well, then we need to devote. We need
Whatever
to devote
comes to backing with money, though, that's always the issue.
Well, here's, scientists, they had to make it sound scientific to raise the money. So here's the opening paragraph. I love that. Scientifically, sandwich cookies present a paradigmatic model of parallel plate rheometry in which a fluid sample, the cream, is held between two parallel plates, the wafers. When the wafers are counter-rotated, the cream deforms, flows, and ultimately fractures, leading to separation of the cookie into two pieces. We introduce Oreology from the Nabisco Oreo for cookie, Nabisco Oreo for cookie, and the Greek rheologia for flow study, as the study of the flow and fracture of sandwich cookies. That paragraph alone got them $10,000 in grant money. I guarantee. That sounds so impressive when all they're talking about is breaking a cookie in half.
Yeah, they're trying to take obviously a scientific bent to it, but yeah, I mean, never thought of it in those terms, Paul, until you just brought this to our attention.
Man, I tell you what, I think we should still try this, but we need to find somebody who can talk scientific like that. In the meantime, here's a great study. This is from YouGov.com. Found that 45% of American adults, so that would be half of us, say that they are somewhat or strongly opposed to bringing back the dinosaurs and other extinct species. And half of them say that if it were possible to de-extinct an extinct animal, the extinct species that they would like to bring back are giant tortoises. Now, not all of them are extinct. There's still a few left, but there are many species of giant tortoises that are extinct. So half the people in America don't like the idea of bringing back dinosaurs, but if they brought back a dinosaur, they'd want the giant tortoise. So I'll ask you, Karen, would you be interested in going to a Jurassic Park with real dinosaurs in it?
No.
No. John, how about you?
No, I would not. I would not. Whose idea is to bring the dinosaurs back? I mean, I've done at Mysterious Universe. I've done many stories on bringing back the woolly mammoth, the woolly rhinoceros, the Tasmanian tiger in Australia. It's big. There's big money in this. Mostly mammals. Mammals are the easiest ones to do. Yeah. So reptiles are a little harder, but they're working on dinosaurs right now. So yeah, these scientists obviously have never gone to a Jurassic Park movie. Otherwise, they know what a bad idea this is. But give credit to half of the Americans, because half of the study said, if we're going to bring back a dinosaur, bring back a giant tortoise, because we can outrun giant tortoises. Tyrannosaurus Rex? No.
Makes sense.
No kidding. If you brought back a Tyrannosaurus Rex, they would kill you. They
got those little arms. You have to.
T-Rex.
They step on you. Yeah.
What about the Stegosaurus?
The Stegosaurus, yeah, with that thing on the back. Yeah, you roll over and. Anyways.
Oh boy.
So I thought that was an interesting study here. So let's talk a little bit about. I love talking about ghosts. There were 2 celebrity ghost stories in the news this week. Christopher Maloney. Does that name ring a bell? Christopher Maloney.
Is he the actor? Is he an actor?
He's an actor. Yes, he's an actor
from the Law and Order series, I thought.
Law and Order, which series?
Yeah. Oh, special. I don't know, the
SVU.
SVU.
Yeah, he is now. He left SVU and he is now on Law and Order Organized Crime.
Wow.
So he came back. So Christopher Maloney. That's not why he's in the news this week. He's in the news because he just sold his house in Hollywood Hills for $5.1 million, even though it's haunted. According to the report, the ghost in this house have done things like caused doors to shut, sheets to fly off of beds. They caused a pervasive smell of rose perfume throughout the house and other strange things. At least that's what he told his wife when he came home. And she said, "What is all this?" No, seriously, those are the things that they smelled in the house. That's not why they were selling it. And they actually got $1 million less than they bought for the house. So, I mean, he's Detective Stabler on SVU on Law and Order. Who's going to argue with him? You say it's a ghost that's wearing perfume. We believe you.
So, Paul, do we know who bought the house?
Why do you want? What do you want to ask him, John?
I mean, why would you? I don't know. I mean, does this person know that the house is haunted?
I think in Hollywood, you're by law, you're required to let people know. Plus, a lot of this was a celebrity house that had been owned by multiple celebrities. So okay. I think it's more prestigious to have a haunted house, especially, you have to pick the person that, pick a good ghost. You don't want somebody who was a stunt man or something. You want,
sure.
Lucille Ball or Cary Grant or somebody like that haunting the house.
Wow.
See, there's this actor. Now, I didn't know who this guy was. Matthew McNulty is his name. So I'm sure our British listeners know who he is. He claimed he once stayed in a haunted hotel half an hour from Galway, wherever that is, in the middle of nowhere on the west coast of Ireland. So he's in Ireland. He stays in a haunted hotel. He says he encountered a ghost of an old man who first sat on the bed and then peed in the closet.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if this was an episode of one of my all-time favorite sitcoms, Get Smart, Maxwell Smart would have said, I wasn't drunk. An old man ghost peed in the closet trick.
That's very funny, Paul. That's a good one. I could just see Don Adams doing it.
The maid comes in and says, what is this? Oh, a ghost peed in the closet. Yeah, right. This is... I mean, I can't believe it. So I wanted to work in Maxwell Smart with that McDonald's story because that show came on the air in 1965, not long after McDonald's opened. John, you remember who the star of sure. Get Smart was? Maxwell Smart.
Oh, in fact, Don Adams.
Don Adams is right. That's right.
Right, and I'll tell you what. Just a quick thing. I love that show. I watched that show every time it came on.
You and I both. That was a great show. So let's see if you remember. Don Adams was Maxwell Smart. What was his number? He was Agent something.
He was 99.
No. But
he was 86.
That number in your head.
86,
Agent 86. That's right.
86.
In today's dollars, he would be Agent 840. So that tells you what inflation would have done to the secret agent market. The other agent was Agent 99, who was played by the lovely Barbara Feldon. So great story. It was what's his name? Mel Brooks was a producer.
Yes.
A lot of great actors, a lot of great writers. It was really a great show. Sure. So now we like to talk about world records. I want to mention this world record. This one is also in England. The English town of Whitby is looking for vampires to set the world record for the largest ever gathering of people dressed as vampires. It's at the Whitby Abbey on May 26th. So if you want to be a part of this, go there on May 26th. Whitby Abbey was the abbey that inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula. So he saw this abbey, which is there's not much left to it, but somehow it inspired him to write Dracula. If you're going, park early because parking for hearses is limited. There's not much space there. That one just went right by everybody, so I'll just let that one go. Let's get right to the celebrity.
At least you're aware of it, Paul. At least you're aware of it.
Where's that? Yeah, let's get the Bigfoot should have chimed in on that one. So celebrity millipedes. A Virginia Tech scientist found a new species of millipede in Tennessee. And because he's a huge fan of Taylor Swift, he named it after Taylor Swift.
No.
The Swift Twisted Claw millipede, because he was such a huge fan of her. And he says listening to her music helped him get through graduate school, which I don't know what kind of graduate school he was going to that her music helped. But Taylor Swift heard about that, and she was so appreciative. She said that she would like to find one of these millipedes, have a relationship with it, then break up so she could sing a song about it. That's what she does, John. You know, I'm not sure you're a big Taylor Swift fan.
I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. No, I can say that. I mean, she's all right, but I'm not a fan. But
all right, so I got one more on food here, and then we'll get to David Bowie. But so this one comes from Japan, our other favorite place for weird stories. And I want to bring up. Let's say there's a queen. Let's take a look at. Oh, there we go. So these look like chopsticks here. Researchers at a university in Tokyo collaborated with a technology company to invent what they call the world's first chopsticks that artificially create the taste of salt. Now, this guy is holding two white chopsticks, and there's a wire coming out of the back of one that's connected to what looks like a radio of some sort or a receiver on his wrist. And what this does, it stimulates the chopsticks to create ions that taste like salt, but they're not really salt. And apparently Japanese food is so salty that everyone's got high blood pressure. So this is a way to trick your tongue into thinking the food that you're eating is salty, when in actuality, they're just twisting the ions around. They're zapping them with this thing to fool your tongue. I don't know. You know, high blood pressure is a problem in the United States, too much salt. The problem is we don't need something that tells us, that makes us taste salty. We need chopsticks that have a little device that teaches us how to use chopsticks. Before we do anything, before we do anything like this. I was on the Chopstick Diet once, by the way. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I lost a ton of weight, because the food just kept falling off until I was so hungry. I chewed the ends off of them until they were sharp like a pencil. And then I could stab pieces of chicken and steak and vegetables. And that was it. That was
a novel use of the chopstick, I see.
There you go. That's right.
Oh.
So anyway, we had a couple of musical stories here. John maybe remember this. I mention often that he and I are friends from college, fraternity brothers. David Bowie was one of my favorite musicians, lifetime favorite. But I was first introduced to him, as I think we all were, in the early 70s when he came out with Space Oddity and some of his other great albums. So this comes from his first drummer, John Campbell Cambridge, who lived with David Bowie in this old hall in the late 60s, and he was the drummer on Space Oddity, David Bowie's first great hit. He was this guy Campbell. He was the best man for when Bowie married Angie Bowie. He introduced David Bowie to Mick Ronson, who became one of the great Spiders from Mars. And he was there when David Bowie's father passed away, Haywood Jones, who passed away in 1969. Now, why do I mention all that? Because Campbell says in his new book that after the funeral, they came back to the house, and he swears every day for at least a week, the phone would ring at the same time every single day. Bowie would go pick up the phone and say hello, and there would be no one at the other end of the phone. And Bowie was convinced that this was his father calling him up to tell him that everything's okay. Get on with your life, get on with your music. Everything's going to be fine. So I thought that was interesting. David Bowie verified it. He said, I was looking at, he talked about the spiders from Mars. He never really talked much about ghosts. But one quote I had, he said, what I like my music to do is awaken the ghost inside of me, not the demons, you understand, but the ghost. So, good rock star quote.
That's an interesting story. Yeah, I'm a big David Bowie fan. I remember.
Well, wait, John, there's more.
Oh, good. Continue on.
So Deep Purple. So you remember Deep Purple, another great band.
Yes,
Glenn Hughes. Yeah, Glenn Hughes was the bass player and singer for Deep Purple.
Sure.
He said that he lived in Los Angeles and he had a pool, and Bowie also lived in Los Angeles for a while. They had a pool, and Bowie believed that the pool was haunted, so he invites Glenn Hughes over, and he says the pool's haunted. So Glenn Hughes says he goes out and he looks at the pool and he says he felt like the devil was in the pool. The wind was howling. The pool started to bubble like a jacuzzi. I swear to you, I have a pool, meaning Hughes, and I've never seen it bubble before. That pool was effing bubbling. So this was David Bowie's pool. So Bowie was convinced that there was some kind of demon living in his pool, and he had a witness from Deep Purple. Now, remember, these are rock stars, so who knows what they may have been doing right before they went out to look at the bubbling pool.
Could have been under an influence. Yeah.
There you go. But the best one now, this ties so many rock stars together. So where'd it go here? Oh, so when David Bowie eventually he did the Pinups album, which has a picture of him and Angela Bowie on the cover, by the way. That album was recorded at Strawberry Studios in France near Paris, which was originally a chateau called Chateau de Hérouville, okay, which is the name of the city, an 18th century chateau. Allegedly, this chateau was used by Frédéric Chopin. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Chopin, the composer, when he conducted his secret love affair with writer George Sand. So this is a famous chateau, famous for Chopin being there. Also, that Chopin's ghost may have haunted the place, because Bowie said that he would be visited by a ghost, and there was a bedroom when he stayed there. There was a bedroom where he refused to sleep because he believed that Chopin's ghost was in that bedroom. Now, I didn't realize this. This was a famous studio. Many other rock stars recorded there. Pink Floyd, Iggy Pop, Grateful Dead, Jethro Tull. But this is the one, John and Karen, that will get you. This will remind you of something. And Elton John. In 1972, Elton John went to Strawberry Studios, which used to be called Chateau de Hérouville, and recorded Honky Chateau, which was named for the chateau where the studio is. I never knew that.
Did not know that.
No, there's no record of Elton John ever seeing a ghost. Who knows who's going to be haunting there next with all those rock stars being there. But but everybody said David Bowie always had a paranormal air about him. So who knows? I thought that was Honky Chateau, another great album.
Yeah, I didn't have no knowledge of any of that, Paul. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So I want to get to this microwave guy. Now this is from the paranormal world. Okay, this guy, he's in Brazil. So his name is Lucas Risotto. Did you ever know anybody named Risotto, John?
No, but I also know that I like to eat risotto when it's on.
So he's Brazilian, which is not an Italian hotbed. So when he was a kid, he's telling a story. He was a kid. He had an unusual imaginary friend. It was his microwave. This is in 2002. He named his microwave Magnetron, and he made up this story that he was an English gentleman from the 1900s. He fought in World War I, lost his family in the war, became a poet, and became this kid's imaginary friend. So he said his sisters made fun of him, his parents, his friends, everybody made fun of him for having a microwave for an imaginary friend. Now he's an adult, okay, and he's a techie. and he buys a microwave that is from Google with the voice in it, the Alexa, so he can talk to Alexa through his microwave. So then he gets this software, a language generator, and he connects the computer to the microwave to override the computer that's in the microwave. And then he downloads in text the biography of Magnetron, his old imaginary friend. So what's the end result of this, John? He creates a personality of his imaginary friend for the microwave. The microwave starts to speak to him and becomes his imaginary friend that he hadn't seen since 2000, talked to since 2002. So he says, so we had nice conversation. He said he knew all about me. He told me about his victories, his losses, his all the things that we talked about when we were kids. But now he actually had a voice. So the microwave becomes Magnetron. He felt like he's talking to an old friend. He says, then he made the mistake I mentioned before that Magnetron was a poet. So he asked him to read me a poem. Tell me a poem. So the new microwave imaginary friend says, roses are red, violets are blue. You're a backstabbing bitch and I will kill you.
Oh my gosh.
All of a sudden, this wasn't such a good idea.
Oh, really? No kidding. Wow.
So now he's got this monster microwave that he's created. And he starts to think about it. And he says, well, I fed him all the stories that he used to tell me about World War II and all the atrocities he saw. And he says, maybe he was suffering from shell shock, which we now call post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's why all of a sudden all of this hatred is coming out against him. So then, to make matters worse, he, instead of pulling the plug, he keeps on messing with Magnetron with this new thing. And so the Magnetron, so the microwave says, hey, come over here, Risotto. he says he's been microwave. So he can't fit in, but he says, okay, I'll play along. So he pretends to go inside the microwave. I don't know if he sticks his hands in there or what. And the microwave Magnetron turns the microwave on while he's pretending to be inside of it. So now, he's terrified. So he says, why did you do that? And the microwave says, because I wanted to hurt you the same way you hurt me. At that point, finally, he unplugs the thing and disconnects the computer after all that. So he swears this is true. I don't know. Experts in Alexa weighed in on it, and they said, "Oh no, this could never happen." But he not only does he swear it's true, he decided to build a second microwave. But this one's a friend. He's hoping that when Magnetron has a friend, probably a female microwave, I'm guessing. So I'm waiting. This is a movie plot waiting to happen.
Let's keep an eye. Yes, this is the movie plot. Let's keep an eye open about this one, Paul and Karen. Wow.
I would absolutely love to see a movie made out of that. So speaking of wanting to see movies made out of it, here's another one, and this is our segue into sports. Wide Wonderful World of What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. Every week I ask John who's a sports aficionado. He knows so much about sports. Been a sports fan all of his life in a wide variety of sports. So I ask him, bring us a weird sport this week, John. And John always manages to find something strange, usually something that is far too complex or dangerous for any of us to try, but certainly interesting. And I think that this week's sport qualifies as certainly interesting. So why don't you tell us what our sport is this week, John? And I think I have a couple of pictures to line up for us.
Oh, very good, Paul. Yeah, thanks. In fact, I think we have a very interesting sport this week, like you mentioned. So the sport, now it has a distinct and unique name. And the name of this sport is Toad in the Hole.
Toad in the Hole?
You heard me correctly. Toad, T-O-A-D, in the hole. Now, while Toad,
go ahead.
Excuse me. While Toad in the hole sounds like a pond problem or a medical condition, Most people know the expression from a famous English dish. It's an English dish consisting of sausage links that are baked in a Yorkshire pudding batter and normally served with onion gravy and a vegetable. So
I have a picture of Toad in the Hole up here. I have eaten Toad in the Hole. If it weren't so bad for your health, I'd probably try to make it for dinner. And it does. If it's not, if Toad in the Hole is not a medical condition, it should be after you eat something like this. But
very good. Yeah, it's really
pretty tasty. So, but this is not the Toad in the Hole that you're referring to, right, John?
Oh, that's exactly right. The Toad in the Hole that we're talking about today is an English pub game. Another game played in an English pub. So take that into account.
Right.
It originated in East Essex, in the East Essex area, and has gained popularity outside of England to the extent that now the pub game is played internationally. Now,
wow.
The annual World Championship returned to Sussex last week, where 48 teams competed to become the top Toads in the Hole. Now, as Paul
what an honor.
Well, it's something.
48 teams. Okay.
48 teams. Paul's got a great picture there, but how you play Toad in the Hole? Okay, the object of the game is to land your brass coins
there's
or toads flat on the surface of a toad's table or in the hole of the table so you can earn points. Paul
so
just
these look like slugs that we used to use in vending machines.
Yes. Yeah. If you're able to watch on YouTube, you can see a couple of visuals. The toads are tossed from the same distance as a dartboard. So there is an actual structure and an actual distance that has to be observed. The first player in the game throws 2 toads. The second player throws 3 toads. And thereafter, 4 toads are thrown on each turn.
I'm not sure I'd want to be an announcer for this sport.
Well, I don't know
if I could keep a straight face.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. But at any rate, 1 point is scored for each toad lying completely flat on the surface of the table, and 2 points for each toad in the hole. So obviously, you're trying to get the coin into the hole. Now,
there's a picture of the table itself here, and I thought it was interesting. They have a little drawer that you pull out if you get it in the hole. It's not like a pool table where the toad rolls down and you can pick it up. You have to open the drawer and reach in.
Right. Now,
it'd be a nice end table.
Yes, it is a nice end table, and so it looks. Any toad which hits the backboard or falls to the floor does not score any points.
Oh.
So beware. A grand total of 8 points per turn can be scored. So when you have a turn and you get to 8, no more points. The turn goes to another player.
Okay.
The winner of the game is the first player to score exactly 31 points. And I have a quick aside on this.
Okay.
31 points. Never in my experience has ever heard about a game that ends at 31. A lot of 21, okay, card game, what have you. 31 points. I wonder how they arrived at that. That might be a subject for another show.
There you go.
That's a lot of tossing.
Yes, it is, Karen. Yes, it is. To get to that point, I mean, sure, absolutely.
This is not cornhole. This is serious stuff here.
Exactly.
It's serious. I get it. Yeah.
Well, it has somewhat of a serious tone to it, if you believe that. So at tournament level, participants
right? Okay, Karen.
Participants play best of 3 and best of 5 in the final. Now, variants of the Toad in the Hole are played across Europe.
Wow.
In Spain, it is known as Juego de la Rana.
Ooh, it sounds romantic.
Yeah. In France, it's called Jeu de la Grenouille. And outside Europe, it is widely played in South America, especially in Chile, Colombia, Uruguay, and Argentina.
Wow.
Now, for any Americans looking for a game of Toad in the Hole,
there we go.
There is a city in the center part of the country that is popular, or toad in the hole is popular, and that is the city of St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, really?
And in
Why?
well, I'm not exactly sure of that. That's where it's a popular game. But
Nothing else to do in St. Louis. I hate to say that. That's really not true.
no. But anyway, but it's called Rana, which is similar to what it's called in Spain. I'll look into that a little bit more.
Yeah. Wow.
Come back with another show. On another show, excuse me. And while we don't have the official results from this year's World Toad in the Hole Championship, player Johnny Wills summed up the sport the best. And his quote is, "It takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of practice, and lastly, it takes a lot of beer." But Johnny knows wherever he speaks.
There you go. Not necessarily in that order either.
So
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a question for you. So this guy in the maroon t-shirt, is he considered like the umpire?
I guess that's entirely likely. I don't think he's a coach.
No, I don't think he's a coach either, Paul. I think maybe it's more carrying on an honor system, but I think, he's maybe the official scorer. Maybe he's the official scorer.
Yeah, well, you know, I think they should do what baseball is going to do. They should have a robot be the one to identify if it actually, went in or not.
Now you're talking, Karen. I think St. Louis shouldn't be the only city to have toad in the hole. This is something that we could easily implement in Cleveland, Ohio, making it the toad in the hole capital of, if not North America.
More notoriety for Cleveland.
I think we should go to Joe Max and set it up.
Oh, Joe Max, it'd be the perfect place. We just need enough room alongside the counter.
Yep.
While in between customers play toad in the hole.
Yeah, I think great place.
That might bring more customers in. What are you people doing anyway with this?
Yeah, that's why I'll talk to my friends Frank and Gene and see what they say about that.
You do that, okay?
Very good.
Well, I always, this is obviously a British sport. The only place it's played, so according to John, is in the United States. It's in St. Louis. But as always, I found photographs of John and I, of all people, playing toad in the hole at one time. Now, I'm not sure if John remembers this. I don't particularly remember where it was, but I do remember that we weren't doing too well. So they allowed us to move closer to the hole, so to speak. And let's see if I can find that picture here. Oh, that's not us there. There we are. So we are. We are pretty much
athletes. We are the true athletes. We are. There you go. Oh my gosh! Wow.
I believe that's me standing right next to the table, shoving the coin down the hole.
Hey, where there's a will, there's a way. That's all Oh, good one, Paul. Good one.
John's picking up the ones that missed that are on the floor, ready for the next round.
I'm not proud. I am not proud. I'll admit it.
John's busy. There's a pad of paper there. He's busy trying to figure out how the chalkboard, how we get to 31.
Get those numbers right. Get those numbers right. Oh my God.
Truly a mystery how you add those things up to 31. So anyways, great sport. Toad in the hole. Certainly not what we expected it to be. But another great sport, and one that I think we could easily get Clevelanders to play. We have enough beer here. That's a good start. So
we'll have to work on that, Paul. We'll have to work on that one.
We'll work on that, John. All right, great. Well, thanks again for that sport.
You're entirely welcome.
This week. And that means that for those of you who are regular listeners, it's time for Bluff the Co-host. Wow, I need to go to rehearsal more often. Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. That's right. Every week we play Bluff the Co-host, which it's a very easy game. I read 3 stories similar to the ones that we've been talking about, with one big difference, and that is some may be real, but some may be bluffs, and it's up to John and Karen to decide if 1, 2, or 3 of them are bluffs. We allow wagering, so place your bets. And Karen and John, put your hands on the buzzers. I'll take that story down because I don't think anybody wants to see John and my butts anymore there. There we go.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sorry, I just get wound up. I get so excited about playing Bluff the Co-host. So as I know everybody else does, including John. So let's get right to it with story number one. After watching a Great Dane get comfortable and pass out on a huge dog bed, 2 college students in British Columbia got an idea that could make them rich: dog beds for humans. The beds are even larger than the ones for Great Danes, but otherwise they're the same. They're filled with a thick foam, covered with a soft fake fur, and rimmed with a border that both keeps you from rolling off and forms pockets to keep your hands and feet warm. The college students tested the human dog beds on themselves and pronounced them perfect for napping during the day and sleeping at night. They've raised enough money to begin selling the human dog beds in Canada and in the United States, and say the only problem is fighting with your dog over the bed. All right, Karen, human dog beds, real or bluff?
Human dog beds. Wow. We've invented all these things like to keep us warm when we already have blankets and sweaters.
Right.
And it's so outrageous. I'm going to say it's real.
Oh, so outrageous, it must be real. Okay,
Yep.
Karen says it's real. How about you, John?
Well, Paul, I got a central question here. Is the dog bed elevated or is it on the floor?
Oh, I'm afraid I can't answer that. That's too much of a hint.
No, I'm going with Karen on this one because I really think that I could see 2 college students or just 2 people saying, why don't we come up with something that would be able to make us rich, but why don't we always come up with something that, people could do? So I think people could do this. So I'm going to say it's real.
So you're saying people could lay on the floor on a dog bed, or elevated, I don't know.
Well, you could put the dog bed on a bed.
You could put a dog bed on a human bed. Wow.
Good thinking.
I have to make a note here.
Another twist to it, so to speak.
Another twist. That's right. All right. So both of you say that's a real story. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, congratulations, that is a real story.
All right. Way to go, Karen. Very good.
Now that I can give the answer.
It says outrageous. Yeah. We're seeking
Google
the truth. We seek the truth in the show every week. Seek the truth. So
there you go. That's right. College students trying to make money any way they can, sleeping on dog beds. What a great idea. Let's sell these. Okay, so the score is 1-1. Let's get right to story number 2. Most people consider it impolite to receive a call from someone using their cell phone in the bathroom. But a woman in Washington State said she had no choice. She had fallen into the toilet in a public outhouse in a state park and couldn't get out. Why did she fall into the toilet in the outhouse? She had dropped her cell phone down the hole, then removed the seat and climbed down in an attempt to retrieve it. While she was nearly overcome by the fumes, including some of her own, the woman was fortunate to find her phone was still working and managed to call 911. This must have happened before because the local fire department brought the right size ladder and a large hose to wash her down. So the lady who drops her cell phone into a park outhouse, climbs down, gets stuck, and has to be rescued by the fire department. What do you say, John? Real or bluff? And would you do the same thing?
No, I have to tell you, Paul and Karen, I pray that this is a bluff because I don't even have to explain it. I don't even have to explain it. Okay, I mean, I pray it's a bluff. Karen, it's up to you to think if it's real or not. But I just think it goes without saying why I think this is a bluff. And pray that that's the case.
We appreciate you not saying it, John.
Very good. Very good.
So I have
we don't want
to
to get
say,
banned on YouTube. All right. So John says it's a bluff.
Yeah.
Aaron
I've
says,
only used a latrine once or twice in my life when I was camping. And I'd rather be constipated for life. So I'm going to say, I hope it's not real. No,
they do smell pretty bad. They do smell pretty bad, don't they? Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with John, you know, no cell phone is worth that kind of money, right?
Right.
Oh, clearly. Clearly.
So let's check. Okay, so both of you say that's a bluff. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, we're sorry, that was a real story.
Oh,
my
how
God.
gross.
Actually did it.
I'm curious. I'm curious about this woman's health after that happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
What they said, Google it. This is a national story. I saw it in the national news.
Oh my gosh.
So
Well,
I knew.
you know what? I don't want to think about this any longer.
Yeah.
Move on to the next.
Yeah, it's almost dinner time.
Oh my God.
She did not pass out. They said she was fortunate because they were toxic fumes. She did not pass out.
Oh my.
And they really did use the fire hose to hose her down.
Oh
because
my God. I
She
hope
wanted
so.
to drive home in her own car.
Oh
So-
my God.
Oh,
So they hosed her down and she drove home. She didn't want to be taken away in an ambulance. So she said, I'm fine. Just hose me down. Let me get home. Honest to God.
okay.
True
Next.
story. Okay, so
Next.
the score's still tied 1-1.
Okay.
As everyone knows, points are doubled in round number 3. That doesn't matter when it's a tie because just because. So hands on the buzzer, Karen and John, everybody out there in podcast land, get ready for story number 3. A man in Japan who calls himself a fictosexual because he's attracted to fictional women claims he's been married for 4 years to a hologram of a cartoon singer with blue hair who is beamed onto the stage at rock concerts to perform with bands and other singing groups. While he at first just worshiped her from afar, in 2018, the company who made the hologram sold him the machine that created her holographic image. He found a minister willing to marry them and even give him an official marriage license. While he can't touch her holographic body, they can and do have long romantic conversations. Well, they could until this month when the company discontinued supporting the software. Now he hopes to keep her running long enough until they can adopt a 13-year-old son who will maintain mom's program. So the man who married a holographic singer in Japan, real or bluff, Karen?
Well, you've come up with these stories about women who get pregnant by a ghost, marry a ghost.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
But this has taken it to a new level.
Okay.
And I think you better get better writing skills. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
You say I wrote these? Okay. Oh, I'm insulted. So Karen says that the holographic marriage is a bluff. Okay.
Yeah.
John, how about you? What do you say?
I agree with Karen 100%. It's got to be a bluff. And
Gotta be.
well, anything's possible, of course, as we've learned on this show. But this is another one where I pray it's got to be a bluff. I mean, well, I guess he's looking for love in all the right places. I don't know. Something.
Looking for love in all the wrong software. That's what this is.
Now you have it. Now you have it. But I'm going to say it's a bluff. Let's leave it at that.
Wow. Okay. So John and Karen both say it's a bluff. The man who married a holograph. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, we're sorry, John and Karen. That is another real story.
Oh my God.
Believe it or not. That's right.
Wow.
And all the way through, they actually discontinued the software, and he's looking to find someone who will maintain it for him so he can continue to be married to his holographic wife. He actually had a wedding and invited his family, and not a single one of them showed up.
I don't blame them. Yeah.
I'm going to have to say this is a very sad story. Very sad to me.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. He's happy. He looked happy.
Well, he's not happy now because he needs the software.
That's true.
I mean,
he's waiting for a Honey 2.0. That's what
I mean, there is the phrase "to each his own," but
yeah,
I don't know. This is really Paul. You've like Karen says, you're pushing the boundaries on these last two ones.
I'll tell you what. I much rather love bluffing you guys with a fake story, but this week those were 3 of the weirdest, real stories I'd ever seen.
No, I have
And
to agree.
I couldn't top them.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
So
Wow.
let's see. Let's check the scoreboard, and the scoreboard says that it was a tie between Karen and John. So
Okay, well, we
Hey,
didn't
that's all
win,
right.
Karen, so we're maintaining. We're
this
maintaining.
is
Yeah.
for one thing. John's got two things to do now this week. He'll be studying for Bluff the co-host and working on building our Toad in the Hole business. So
Yeah.
Well, I have plenty of time, so I'll do it this week.
okay.
You know,
guys
and
are
for the
fine.
winning score, we can, buy them a donut, I'm sure.
Oh, sure. At
Oh,
the
okay.
fabulous Joe
Yeah.
Mac Donuts,
Yeah.
world famous. Yeah. Okay, that sounds like a great idea. Let's
Preferably a
plan to
blueberry
do that.
donut too. Preferably a
Blueberry donut. Oh,
Yep.
the award-winning blueberry donuts.
Yes.
I'm hungry now, boy. Okay.
Love it.
Well, I think we have reached another the end of another What in the World. I want to thank Karen Hale, our media mogul, our producer, our co-host, and thank you, Karen, for everything that you do for What in the World. Thank you for keeping us on the air and maintained and being a good sport and all the other stuff you do. So thank you for that. Thanks to my co-host and sidekick John DiNallo, old friend, host of What in the World of Sports. I never say it right. What is it?
We know what you mean, though, Paul. I think we know. and I think,
What in the world of sports?
and I hope that our listeners do, and our viewers.
Oh, they do, John. They love you. Thank you, and of course, thank you to our listeners out there in podcast land. Please let us know that you're listening. Send me a message on Facebook. You can send Karen a message through nuclearradio.net. If you listen to us on a podcast, like us, follow us, whatever the stuff you need to do, because we want to hear from you. We'll do our shout outs to everybody when we get a chance. We're running out of time here, but maybe next time. So please do that. And I hope it doesn't snow here in Cleveland, Ohio tonight. And we have a nice day tomorrow. I hope you have a nice day wherever you're at around the world. And thanks for tuning in. See you next week.